I can't wait to dive into genealogical regression. Wow. But before we do that, let's do some foundational work, if you don't mind. Talk first about how you were introduced to the idea of reincarnation and basic past life regression.
Yeah, this is something that was made aware to me in childhood. My parents, we moved around a lot and we lived in Colorado Springs. And my mother attended a luncheon with the hypnotherapist and the woman who were the subject of the book, The Search for Bridey Murphy, which was a very, very famous past life regression case back in the day. And so my mom attended the lunch, bought the book, and then I don't know what everyone else was doing at the family dinner table, Lisa, but we were sitting there talking about past lives, reincarnation, and the idea that the soul goes on. And there was just something about the minute we started talking about it, and I read the book when I was a kid, I just said, this feels true to me. And so it's just been a lifelong interest of mine and a lifelong belief that I've had.
Yeah, that's a heck of an introduction. Wow, I love that. I've always been fascinated by the story of Bridey Murphy as well. So in your experience, I know that there are many issues that can be cleared up and healed, whatever word you want to use for it, using past life regression. So in your experience, what are some of those issues?
I've really found that this is working on just about anything that people have going on in their lives. And so the biggest broad generalization I can give is that I feel like all people, no matter what kind of healing you are seeking, are looking for healing in either the area of love and relationships, health, or abundance, prosperity / security. So that's very generalized, of course, but I truly believe this is a method that can help everybody.
Right. Now, so your latest book describes, again, something I'm fascinated by, genealogical regression. So how did you come up with this process?
You know, I've been doing this for almost definitely between 15 and 20 years ago. I started doing this, and it's something, the book just came out. It hasn't been out that long. And so all these years, it was things that I had been doing without really telling people. What happens in a past life regression is, let's say you're coming in for whatever, love, health, money, relationships, whatever. And so the goal in that modality would be, I need to get you to the source event where whatever this challenge is actually happened. And so a lot of times people show up on my door because this is the last stop after they've looked everywhere else, and they think finally, well, maybe I need to go have a past life regression. And so if I then take you into the past to this source event where I believe this might come from, of course, I'm going to start with past life regression. But if intuitively I'm sensing, you know what, we're just not getting there, we're not hitting that actual source event, I always describe it like, it would be like going out and you've got weeds in the garden and the lawn and you just mow over them. They're going to come back. And so I've got to find the source event. So at that point, rare instance that I felt like I wasn't getting there, then I developed this many, many years ago, this concept. I just had it float into my mind that I should take people to a space where they're safe and they're going to meet with the higher selves or the soul level aspect of their parents, and then have a conversation with their parents. And then that's another whole healing in and of itself. But then I'd have them say, hey, mom and dad, I was just wondering, is there anybody in our family tree who needs healing right now? And then just have them notice, is it a yes or a no? And so let's say mom says, yes, I need a healing. Okay, great. Then rather than taking them back through that guided process into their past lives, where they're basically experiencing a visual image of themselves as someone else, in this case, they go with the higher self of their mother back into that past situation, and they start seeing people who they also maybe have never seen before. But when I ask them, well, who is that? They go, well, that's my ancestor. That's my 5 times great grandmother, or whoever it is. And usually, because we normally turn to any kind of healing modality because we need some healing ourselves. Hello. And so normally these are not exactly the most pleasant experiences, but when they do go back there, we're able to send love, light, grace, peace, and healing. And we send this light until we kind of come to a neutralized experience where things start to feel better and, sense that there's been a slight shift. It doesn't mean we're going from, if a lot of times it's going back to wars and things like that. So yes, obviously that's very traumatic, but can we lighten that energy a little bit and then have the client then notice, wow, grandmother looks lighter. And then let's start bringing that light forward through time to all of the ancestors between that early time and today. And then what ends up happening is I have them look at, let's say, again, we're talking about a mom, then I have them notice their mom is getting lighter and lighter and lighter, brighter and brighter and brighter. And then they begin to bring that light to them. And then we can extend that as well, out to our family who's currently with us. Let's say our cousins, our grandparents, or our aunts and uncles, et cetera, our siblings, as well as sending that grace and light out into the future with the idea that, when we heal ourselves, and particularly when we can heal the past, we're really healing all time, because time, as you know, is an illusion. And so it's just bringing a lot of light and energy. And it just, like I said, even just the slightest shift can bring very, very transformational healing to people.
Yes, absolutely. I see the beauty in this work. I just want to make sure that it's clear what we're talking about here for people who are watching and are just learning about this idea, because we've all sort of known about past life regression for a long, long time. And basically that when you are in the hypnotic state, you are regressed to something that you specifically, your individual self, lived in a different incarnation, and you weren't necessarily related by blood to those beings, those different humans. But what we're talking about here is when you're being regressed, you're sort of traveling up the line of your family tree to people that you were not specifically, but that you are descended from, and you're carrying the energetic dysfunctional patterns. Is that an accurate assessment?
Lisa, you are awesome. That is amazing. Yes, yes. When people come for a past life regression, I use just guided imagery. It's like you're going on a meditation, and I'm your guided meditation. And so we just take you into a space where you are experiencing visual images, sometimes with the perspective that you're looking out your own eyes, but you are someone else in a totally different time period. And as you've explained so wonderfully, yes, this is, again, we're still in that same guided imagery where we're allowing pictures, thoughts, and feelings to bubble up. And yet when we go back and see these people who we do not know, they are not you. They are, as you've said, they are your ancestor. They're a grandparent. They're an ancestor. And typically the client in that state can often say, well, this is 5 generations back, or this is 3 generations back. And they can name sometimes the places where these ancestors were, and then notice the events that are troubling them. And then that's how we do it. And it's using the realm of the imagination, which is just so important. You're allowing pictures, thoughts, and feelings to come in without judgment, in a relaxed state. And then there's a lot of different things that can be revealed from that space.
Right. Well, let's talk about that. What sort of information can we discover during a genealogical regression? What's available to us?
It's really following along the same lines as a past life regression. In the book, Heal Your Ancestors, I talk about, again, 3 realms would be physical healing, mental, emotional healing, and or spiritual healing. So again, pretty much any issue that you have, if you're not finding the answers through past life or through other modalities, you can always say, it's about asking a question, is it possible that I'm being affected right now by things that happened to my ancestors? And through that questioning, then we can go back and try to see, is there a source event? And really, I mean, even if there isn't a source event to that specific thing, one of the powers of doing the ancestral healing is because we are connected to these people. We are descendants of them. And by sending them light to anything that was challenging in the past, whether it was actually going to help us specifically or not, we are then helped in ways that are really unimaginable because of this connection that we have through time to the people who have come before us.